That's one thing that we understand as adults, that we are going to die if the Lord tarries. And so the question is not if we shall die. And at this point, I'm not even going to address the question why we will die. We've already looked at that a little bit. But the two questions I think that haunt all of us are these two. The questions when and how. One of the things that's been impressed upon me by my time here at MD Anderson is talking to Dr. LeMaitre and members of his staff. They've expressed to me their disdain for those who think that they can predict with certainty how long a patient will live after they've contracted a so-called terminal illness. That there's one thing that we can talk about mathematical tables of probability quotients and the like, but every human being is different. And more we're seeing people surviving diseases that in the past were thought to be certainly terminal. And we're seeing that people respond differently in terms of attitude, in terms of how much they're willing to battle and to use all of the resources at their disposal, that people just don't roll over and give up whenever they contract a dread disease, because we don't know whether the disease we have right now will be the last one, or whether or not we will recover from this one. But even if we recover and are stamped with a complete bill of health 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road, that does not mean that we're going to escape death. It's just that we still don't know when, and we don't know how. But I notice when I read the Scriptures that when the Scriptures talk about the how question of death, it's not so much concerned about whether or not I will die through a heart attack or by an accident or by a gunshot wound or by cancer or some other disease. But rather, what the Scriptures are most interested in terms of the how question of our death, is what will the state of our souls be when we pass from this planet. But when the Scriptures talk, again, as I said, about the how of death, they're concerned about what our relationship is to God at the moment we breathe our last. And in my virgin reading of the New Testament, it's a long way through the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and Romans, and 1st and 2nd Corinthians, and all those Pauline epistles and everything, that I came to the second letter of Paul to his beloved disciple Timothy, and we get to the end where Paul is in prison and he's expecting now to be executed. And we know that he was executed by Nero in 65 A.D. And at the end of this correspondence that he has to his young disciple, he writes these words to Timothy, "For I am already being poured out like a drink offering, and the time has come for my departure. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith."